Hi everyone, it's Jama Malmy. Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited to show you how I put these 8x8 Christmas home decor frames together. I used the Cricut Complete Creativity Collection to do this, and I am excited to be giving one of these away. So stay tuned to the end to see what you have to do to win. So here is a look at all of the cuts that I cut out ahead of time, and on the right you saw a stencil that I cut out of stencil film, and here I'm showing you what the Cricut files actually look like when I design them in Design Space. I used 4 different layout projects from the Complete Creativity Collection and combined them and sliced and contoured and did a whole bunch of stuff to them to create these projects. And I am going to be sharing this file with you in the description below, so be sure to check it out if you'd like to make this as well. Normally I share all of my Cricut files with those who have ordered this collection through me, and so if you'd like to have more of my files, then let me know if you have purchased this through me and I will share all of my files with you. I also want to point out that this video is a collaboration with my friend Erin Jacobson, and so we challenged ourselves to take at least 2 of the Christmas projects from Complete Creativity and create something with them. So this is what I created, and check out the link in my description below to head over to her video so you can see what she has done with at least 2 or more of the Cricut collections, or of the Cricut projects from this collection. Okay, so on to what I'm actually doing. So I have played around with a lot of different glues in putting these detailed cuts together from this collection, and you saw me use the liquid glass with the fine tip applicator on the tree, and that is what I've opted to use for most of the layouts and projects I have done with this collection. But I just started using this Tombow liquid adhesive, and I didn't like it as much as at first, but I've really gotten used to it and I'm liking it a lot now. So that's kind of my go-to now, which has changed. So this overlay for the heart, I wanted it a more vivid red. Now it already was darker than the other red because I used the dark side of the candy apple paper versus the love base of it is in the back side of candy apple, which is a lighter shade of it. But I wanted it to be even more vivid and have a little sparkle, so I just went over it with my red shimmer pen, and so it gave it a little more red. It covered the white that you kind of saw because our cardstock is white core, and when you cut it with the Cricut, sometimes detailed cuts you can kind of see that white, so it covered that, and it also gave it some shine, so it looks really pretty. I ruffled all of the edges of that vine wreath, and then I wanted the wreath to have a little bit more dimension and be a little wider, so I cut out more of the leaves that are part of the hollyberry clusters in white and kind of tucked those around that wreath, so it just gave it a little more substance. Now the bow is hard to tell in Design Space how it's going to look proportionally, the size that you have it, because when you have it in Design Space it's not put together, it's flat. So I did have to test out the size I liked a little bit and ended up with this size. And then I popped this little doily piece up on foam squares. I used almost the whole sheet of the little foam squares that come in the shaker foam packet. And then I decided I wanted a little more shine in the background, and so I splattered some more shine. I already had the stickles, which you saw, and then I also took my shimmer pen and splattered more shine on, and then I put that wreath on. And I want to point out here that when I did put this in the frame, I had to move the bow down because of the clearance around the edge of the Shadowbox frame. So just keep that in mind. You need a little bit of extra space if you're going to be framing this. Okay, so I decided to do that same technique of the red shimmer brush on the berries, only you're going to see in a little bit that I actually covered those up with gems, so you're not even going to see the shimmer. But if you're not going to be using the gems, the shimmer brush, it did look really pretty. I just wanted it to have a little more dimension in that area on those little clusters. So I went ahead and added the little leaves around this whole wreath and just tucked them in, and I used that same liquid glue, the Tombow liquid glue, around the edge to glue those. And then I realized that some of those are going to be covered by the holly berries, so I decided I'm going to put the holly and berries in place before I finish the rest of those added white leaves, so that I'm not putting them underneath the holly and kind of wasting them. So I put those roughly in place where I wanted them, and then I'm going to continue gluing down all of the little white pieces around. And then I wanted even more sparkle because I'm a shimmer girl, and I took my clear shimmer brush and I added a little bit of shimmer just to like every 3 or 4 leaves or so, not to all of them. And I thought that I wanted a star on the top of that tree, so I took these retired white enamel stars. I colored one of the bigger ones with a yellow alcohol marker, knowing that I was going to cover it also with gold stickles, but just in case the stickles didn't completely cover, you know how you can kind of see through. I didn't want you to see white through, so that's why I colored it yellow first, and then I went over it with the gold stickles. So I'm just going through and adhering all of the little pieces. For this kind of thing, it did help me to stand up and look down. I normally sit while I work. I know a lot of people stand anyways, but as I'm starting to kind of put things together, it helped get a better perspective when I stood up to look down and make sure I'm getting everything placed exactly where I want it. I did get the Peace, Love, and Joy piece a little bit higher than I wanted. I wish that it was a little bit lower down, because once I added that bow at the top, it had more white or blue space at the bottom than I wanted in relation to between the piece and the bow at the top. So just something else to kind of keep in mind. I still really love how this turned out though. So here I'm adding some red gems. These are retired, and I'm adding it. This pack came with 3 different shades of red, and I'm using the middle shade. And as I get them on, I just realized that it's darker than the red that's already on there. I wanted something brighter, so I went to the brighter red. But then in each cluster, I kept 1 gem in the darker red, and then that added even more dimension and depth, having the 2 different colors of red gems. And then on some of the clusters, I also had 2 different sizes of gems. So I really like how the gems turned out in this. It added a really cool look. So this is the wreath that I'm going to be giving away, and you will get this in the frame. And so continue watching and stay till the end, and I will explain to you what you have to do to win. And then I decided it needed more sparkle, because why not? So I did the same technique of splattering onto the whole page. And then I thought, well, I'm going to take it a step further and put the red shimmer on that bow as well. And let me tell you, there is a lot of shimmer on that bow. It is very shimmery. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I would have just left it without the shimmer, but it does look really cool. It really catches the light, and if you like shimmer as much as I do, you will like the shimmer on this bow. But Now you can kind of see what it looks like with and without, and so you can decide if you want to add shimmer to yours or not. But I love how those splatters look like snow all over the piece. It looks really cool. It's very cool in person. So now I'm starting the second one. I've already done the background and put the wreath down because you've already seen that. And then I am using more cuts from, I think, a couple of different layouts from the cartridge still. The same bow, so I'm just doing a quick little showing you how to put the bow together using a different type of adhesive. The first one I used that liquid adhesive, and then this one I'm just using my ATG, which gives a strong hold and works as well. And then each of these flowers, I kind of curled the ends and curled the sides in, and there's a slit in the middle of each of those petals, so you have to kind of be careful as you're curling the sides, but it does add a lot of nice extra dimension. I added a little bit of patterned paper to this as well. I tend to work with just cardstock when I'm using the Cricut cuts, but I decided to mix in some patterned paper so you can see a way to use some of your patterned paper in these types of things using your Cricut. And so I just did a little bit, and I alternated the pattern being on the top versus the pattern being on the bottom in the layered flowers. So, and that paper is from the Holly Jolly collection, which is one of this year's Christmas collections. The other colors I used are Candy Apple is the red, Fern is the lighter green, Evergreen is the darker green, and then White Daisy. And then that gold glitter paper is just amazing. So just kind of putting all of these elements together. And I realized when I put that gold down, I thought that I was going to add like some stacked red pieces under it just to give it dimension. And then when I put that red under, I decided, you know what, I don't need it to have dimension. I like having the red kind of offset, and it just gave it that extra pop that it really needed. I think that looks so much better. I just love it. So I had a couple more Merry Christmases cut out in red, thinking I was going to stack like 4 of them, but it didn't need it. So I'll just save them for another project. In the middle of these flowers, I am adding some gold glitter gems. These are so pretty in person. It's really hard to appreciate all of the sparkle and shine from the products that I'm using here on the video, but the glitter gems really do add such a beautiful touch to so many projects. I use them all the time, and they come in silver as well, and then also our color of the year, which julep, which is kind of like well, it's green, kind of like the color of the tip of that the Tombow glue. It's beautiful. But anyways, I'm using this same Tombow glue. I'm doing just little itty bitty dots and squeezing very little out at a time. I've kind of gotten down the flow and how much to squeeze and how big the dots to do to get just the perfect amount out for these really thin cuts. So you may need to practice a little bit because it's not as fine a tip as the liquid glass, but the liquid glass, if it does seep out, it's glossy and you see it, which I've managed to work with just fine because of the shimmer brush that I use. Usually I use that and then it covers up anything that seeps out. But I know some people have had issues with it clogging. I personally have not had that issue. But if you do, this Tombow glue it works really well. It doesn't get clogged. It's a matte finish, and I really like it. I'm liking it. It's just a little bit of a learning curve. So I'm adding some gold embellishing thread, and what I do is I loop it around a few times, and then I hold hold all the pieces together and then wrap a large glue dot around it. That not only holds it together, but it also gives it the adhesive that I need to push it under that poinsettia and get it to stay. And I use my piercing tool to do that, to kind of just like shove it under there, and it works really well. So I'll do that in the upper corner as well. And then I'm going to move on to adding more of the little leaves in the wreath to give it more dimension. Now I already colored over them with the gold shimmer brush to give them a little bit of gold sparkle, just so I wouldn't have to go back and do it like I did in the last wreath. So here's a look at this finished product and some close-up shots of it. I ended up adding also some gold gems around the wreath because I thought it needed a little more gold sparkle scattered throughout the whole thing. So I thought I would show you what the layouts look like in Complete Creativity. So here's a look at one of the layouts. That's where I got the Peace, Love, and Joy and the wreath and the bow. And then this is where I got the Merry Christmas. There's lots of other goodies you could use as well. And then this is where I got the stencil. So I just used the background. And then this one is where I got those little sprigs and the poinsettia and poinsettia leaves. So I used all 4 of those layouts to create these frames. Okay, so now what you've been waiting for, the giveaway. So the one that you see here on the left is the one I'm giving away, and what you need to do to win is comment below if you like a more traditional Christmas look or a more whimsical non-traditional Christmas look better. I am totally torn. I'm unbiased. I love both looks. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. So comment below and I will choose a winner on December 5th, and I will reply to the comment of the winner. Be sure to go check out Erin's project that she has created for you. I've linked her video below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.